It's time for Free Speech Fridays. We get two free-speaking New Zealanders together. We discuss the issues of the week. Today we have Bob McCoskrie, the CEO of Family First, and joining us again, and we get great response to her, as well as Muriel Newman, former ACT MP from the Centre for Political Research. Guys, lovely to have you both with us. Happy Friday morning to you.
Morning, Sean. Morning, Muriel.
All right. Where to start? It has been such a week. Oh, let's start with Te Pāti Māori, because it's a story that mainstream aren't that into. Second year in a row, guys. These guys don't file a financial return that's been audited. They didn't do it last year, and they got a warning from the police, even though it's an offence not to do this. Muriel, this is weird and persistent.
I think actually that the time has come where they need to be given an ultimatum that if they don't file within, say, 15 days or 30 days, then they should be deregistered and thrown out of Parliament. I mean, it is just ridiculous if you have laws that are there to make sure that there's no misappropriation of funding for political, getting yourselves elected and for political purposes. And these guys are just thumbing their nose at it and saying, stuff off. It's just not good enough. We have to actually make sure that the law has teeth.
Yeah, well, the problem we've got, Bob, is like the Electoral Commission, well, that's up to the police. And no minister wants to get involved because it's an operational matter, and the police just won't answer the bloody questions as to why they're only given them a warning.
Yeah, look, I've been in the situation with the Electoral Commission, received the timelines, the warnings when we were part of the referendum process.
Yeah.
At each election we put out a pamphlet. So we know the rules, we know what's expected, we've sent the reminders, we know exactly what has to be done. And look, I noticed that even Labor haven't put in their audited accounts.
It sounds like they came up with a credible excuse or reason, and they're not repeat offenders, are they?
As an accountant, I would question that. But look, there's no doubt about it. Te Pāti Māori are repeat offenders. They are getting the soft treatment. I wish the Electoral Commission and Charities Board had been as soft on us as Family First. But it seems to be these left-wing groups seem to be treated slightly less. There's another group called...
Do we think this is because the police and the Electoral Commission officials are left-wing? Do you think they're showing institutional bias?
Well, actually, that's one of the things that I reckon around the whole Te Pāti Māori thing is that the authorities are a little bit apprehensive because as soon as they do, they get... John Tamahiri came out with this great word of the week, caucasity. Caucasity is if you're Caucasian and you have audacity. So in other words, it's basically a label that he's made up, caucasity, thrown at anybody who challenges some of the shenanigans of Te Pāti Māori. And look, if it was any other party, every other party should be held accountable. That's why I'm calling out Labor as well for slack accounting practices.
Yeah. I mean, really, Muriel, should they be allowed to put this candidate, what's her name, Orini Kaipara, should they be allowed to stand a candidate in a by-election if they're not filing their financial returns? And a by-election, which is the result of the death of a woman whose election in itself was highly questionable because of the actions of the Māori Party.
Well, this is right. I mean, it's just they're building on sand, aren't they? There's no solid foundation for the party, and there were those allegations swirling around that they'd been using government funding to, fund their election campaigns. And when you think about a lot of those groups that receive government funding are associated heavily with the Maori Party president. And, it's taxpayer money for health and whānau ora and all sorts of things. And so it's really important that the Maori Party sorts that out and puts it to rest that there is no wrongdoing going on here. And you would have thought that if there wasn't any wrongdoing, they would have filed their returns a long time ago and be squeaky clean. Now, they haven't done that, and so, yes, you have to question whether or not they should be allowed to carry on, and that means running in the by-election, the whole thing. I think the time has come where authorities have to crack down on this. Otherwise, as I say, they're just making a laughing stock of everyone who abides by the rules. It's just not right.
All right, well,
I think the other thing, Sean, is also just that, look, people need to realise this is taxpayer funding goes into these parties. So there's the aspect of public funding, but as Muriel touched on, it's also the importance of democratic elections being seen to be fair and transparent. Now, we don't know what's gone on. We know that there's huge, and I think you're going to touch on this, the by-election. There's huge questions around the fact that Te Pāti Māori won that seat by 42 votes when there was a whole lot of shenanigans going on that still hasn't been answered either.
And I wonder if they're giving out free ice cream this time, the Māori Party. It's going to be on the 6th of September. I'll ask you guys if you were on the Māori roll, which I'm presuming neither of you are, in Tamaki Makaurau. Who out of the three candidates? Hana Tamaki, I've just interviewed her. She's giving it a crack. World loves to try her. Pena Henry, Hana Tamaki, and this ethno-journalist, Aurini Kaipara. Which one of those would get your vote if you were voting in that by-election, guys?
I'd go for Labour.
You go for Pena? You go for Pena Henry? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Bob?
Look, I think it's a natural Labour seat. I think that Te Pāti Māori probably shouldn't have won it 2023 if we did a proper investigation, and if they actually followed through and did it appropriately, they'd find that there was shenanigans going on there that probably were illegal.
So you wouldn't vote for Hana? Another person of faith, Bob?
Look, I think it's always been a Labour seat, and actually I was interested to see the write-up in the New Zealand Herald by Matthew Hooton, who said this is a chance for Labour to separate themselves from the wackiness of Te Pāti Māori.
Yeah, it is. I think there's a context or subtext to it, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there is truth to that, because one of the dangers for Labour next year is that they are going to be lumped in with Te Pāti Māori. And look, even though Te Pāti Māori have a core support, which is low, it's enough to help Labour get over the line in terms of a coalition. But does Labour want to be associated with that and some of the wacky economic policies coming out of Chloe Schwalbrook and the Greens? So Labour have got a real issue, I think.
Just talking, Sean, you know, touching on that matter of voter fraud and the potential for it, it is so important that issue is cleared up. You know, the next election is approaching really quickly, the next general election, and I don't know whether anyone can have confidence in the election result when you have allegations of such a serious nature swirling around.
Muriel, I do not disagree with you.
18 months have not been sorted.
I do not disagree with you, but as we've been chasing down stories like this since the platform began, and the lack of concern about the integrity of our electoral system, particularly from officials within that system, and their almost cognitive dissonance over the threat that is posed to our democracy by some of the practices that have got on and remain uncleared up is quite remarkable. There is an alternate universe where these things do not matter, and unfortunately I think a lot of our electoral officials, our police, and dare I say our politicians, seem to be woefully blind to the threat that this represents to the integrity of the whole system. And I cannot explain it, Muriel, but it's really concerning.
I totally agree with you. And with the local body elections coming up, there are allegations last time around that are pretty similar, that there was, voting harvesting of voting papers from various people and various
Well, John Tamahiri said to do it. He said it's probably illegal. You should do it anyway. Nothing's happened about that.
Well, this is right, and it's just ridiculous because, you know, we see in other countries where, you know, a hell of a lot of effort goes into ensuring that elections are fair, and, run appropriately and properly. And here, we just seem to say, oh, no, she'll be right. Well, it's just not flipping good enough.
Yep, I agree. Guys, let's stay with elections. Let's talk the dirty tricks that are unfolding in Wellington, which is just a hell of a funny story, but we'll have the break first. And it's Free Speech Fridays, brought to you by the Free Speech Union, the champions of free speech in New Zealand. Visit them at fsu.nz. With us this week, Muriel Newman and Bob McCoskrie. Bob's the CEO of Family First. Muriel's a former ACT MP and head of the Centre for Political Research. Let's stay on elections. Let's go local body elections. Let's go Wellington. Tory whānau's come out today in an interview with a couple of guys who are on the sickness benefit and work out of their mum's basements in Dunedin called Big Hairy News. She's admitted that the email that Ray Chung wrote, she leaked to David Fisher from the Herald after taking advice from a political consultant. And it looks like this has all been done not because Tory's outraged about her pendulous tits, but because she is trying to destroy Ray Chung's mayoral bid on behalf of Andrew Little. Firstly, important question to you both, do either of you care about the Wellington mayoral election and what's going on? Muriel.
Oh, look, I think all of these elections are important, and, we've seen what bad councils can do all around the country, to be honest. And so, yes, I think the mayoral election is very important, as are all of them. So it does matter.
So do you think it's outrageous that Ray Chung wrote this email 2.5 years ago?
Look, I think we've got, first of all, there is a lesson in it. Anyone in public office should not write private emails that they don't want to see on the front page of the newspaper. Most politicians learn that pretty early on in their careers. Yeah. But essentially, this is a hatchet job, and they're desperately trying to derail the guy's campaign. And, who the hang knows whether they'll be successful. They probably will. But, you look at some other famous people who've had many hatchet jobs done on them and they've sailed through. So, it's who knows. But it's definitely a political hatchet job for Andrew Little.
Bob? Do you care?
Well, as I say, no, I don't. As they say in politics, you get what you voted for, and in Wellington, they voted for a Green-endorsed candidate, so they got what they deserved, and so they've had 3 years of utter shambles. Can that be corrected in this election? I'm not sure. Muriel took the words out of my mouth. In public life, if what you write or say or think you don't want to see on the front page of the newspaper, then best to shy away from it. But there's no doubt about it. Look, if this was happening on the right-wing side of politics, it would be called dirty politics, and there would be a book about it. So it's just interesting to watch, but look, I'm certainly not.
Interesting too, I got to say, guys, the complicity of the mainstream media in supporting and facilitating this campaign. David Fisher in Northland suddenly writing a hit job about a Wellington by-election, and now Tory admitting she chose him to leak the email that was bad about her to him. I mean, it's just they're part of the process, the journalists.